Oh, gee, it looks like I took time out of my life to stop photo editing and make a diecast review. Gee, this is going to be a fantastic year for IndyCar Diecast reviews. This year, I am planning to review every single car this year that Greenlight makes, and we are starting off the year with the Penske cars. And we're starting off with the first one as the Josef Newgarden 2019 Hitachi car. And let me tell you, out of all the years I've collected Greenlight Indy cars, I have never seen diecast come out this early. Granted that the Roger Penske cars do not change over the course of a couple years. This has been a relatively same scheme probably since the Ryan Briscoe days in 2012. I mean, of course, we have evolved from different aero kits where different aero kits had different different liveries on them. But this kind of looks very similar to what Ryan Briscoe drove back in 2012. In fact, I'm getting reflections based off of that scheme. Or that livery, excuse me. And we got ourselves a beautiful diecast. I mean, this is very similar to last year's, not very identical, besides the number 1 has changed to number 2. Now, in IndyCar racing, number 1 is reserved for the previous year's champion. It is their right to have it, or they can choose not to. Scott Dixon chooses not to run number 1. He ran number 1 when he won the 2003 championship, going into 2004. But they stopped doing that because A, Dixon had a very off year running number 1 in 2004, and 2, I believe Tony Renna was killed testing the number 1 car in Indianapolis. So, superstition, they don't run number 1 anymore. Which is quite true because, they didn't run number 1 when Dario won all his championships from 2009 to 2011. They didn't run it when Dixon won in 13, 15, and of course, last year. They teased us with number 1 at the beginning of the year with number 1 PNC Bank car, but that was just for promotional purposes. So, we are stuck with the Josef Newgarden car being number 2 this year. And I was going to say with confidence that Pagano would be number 1 next year. But as far as the early races are concerned, it does not look like Pagano will probably repeat as champion. Repeat his performance in 2016. Which is quite a shame. But he has time to turn around, and hopefully by the end of the year we'll see him hoist the cup. But I don't see that happening. With Josef Newgarden, however, I can very well see that happen. And of course you just saw the packaging. And the packaging, honestly, Greenlight nailed it this year. The packaging just looks stunning. I mean, we're used to seeing different color combos on the Greenlight cars. But this year's in particular, there's just something I really freaking like about these. I don't know what is about them. Could be the checker flag pattern. But it just seems like Greenlight really cares about the packaging. Granted that a lot of these cars are going to be kept in their boxes. Like myself, except for this review, of course. I'm going to take mine now. But I'm going to buy one as another one to keep in box. Because I like to keep them on the shelves. And I know a friend of mine, Garrett's going to hook me up with some command hooks to get these Indy cars up on the wall. Which, that would be a great help there, Garrett. This is a fantastic looking car, nevertheless. And I'm going to open this thing out of its packaging, its casing. Let's get this thing open now, Rob, shall we? And before you ask, there's quite a few places where you get IndyCar Diecast this year. It seems like the demand for these are going up. That is why I am filming more and more of these IndyCar reviews, because with the viewership going up, I mean, NBC reported that the season opener at St. Pete was the highest rating season opener they've ever had, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, and also IMSA with the 12 Hours of Sebring, that race saw a 46,000 viewership increase, I think it was. Was it 46,000 or was it 460,000? I forget what it was. I'm sorry, I forget. But they saw a drastic fan viewership increase. And I tell you what, IndyCar in general is seeing a big uptick. And people are getting exposed and getting involved to what IndyCar racing is all about. And quite frankly, you know, there's quite a few people probably watching this that are quite sick of NASCAR's bullshit. And let me tell you, IndyCar racing is a great alternative. And it's definitely something worth watching. This is a beauty. Of course, VIN number's 1449 on this car. And, you know, with Greenlight's cars, these are the earliest I've seen them come out so far this year. But, as you can tell, when Greenlight makes a car, there's just very few errors on these cars. Except for this one. I can find an error on this one easily. Let's see, is that an error? I peeled this off. I don't think it's an error on this car. Weird. But, you know what? Stunning looking car. Yeah, there's a little paint chip here, I believe. I'm not sure if I can get that off or not, but regardless, these 164s, man. God almighty, are they friggin' beautiful. Let's get the trading card out so that I can get this out of the way. Let's open her up. And here is the trading card that comes with it. Read some of the stats there. And let me tell you, Josef Newgarden, I'm telling you right now, I think he's due for another championship. He's definitely due for an Indy 500 win, that's for certain. I mean, Indy 500 wins coming his way, and certainly another championships coming Josef Newgarden's way. So let's take a look at this livery here. So, sponsors, we got Dallara, Shell, Pennzoil, Discount Tire, Snap-on, IndyCar. Of course, you know, this car does not have the 2019 NTT IndyCar Series logos because this car was made well before that announcement was made. And once the team approval gets going, Greenlight's more like a hands-off type of company. Let's see, Hitachi, Chevrolet, Firestone. Let's see here. Some sponsor on the tub. We have Shell V-Bauer Nitro Plus, Hitachi. Like I said, a little screw up there. Number 2, IndyCar, Speedway, Verizon, PPG, Chevrolet, Firestone. Number 2, I love that Speedway logo. I just don't know why I love about it so much, but it's so beautiful. There's the back of the car. And the side the same as the left. As far as the livery is concerned, I must say Penske hardly ever changes their liveries. And that's also quite true in their IndyCar department. And it merely makes it easier because they all paint their cars. But the livery is very similar to what Josef Newgarden ran last year, except for that this car is number 2. And it's also very familiar to what Ryan Briscoe drove in 2012, the number 2 Hitachi car that he drove. Kind of similar to what Elio drove as well. Elio drove an Hitachi car for God knows how many years when he drove the number 3 car. It had a different livery to it, of course, because the 2015 to 2017 cars were on the aero kits and they produced a different type of livery for that one. But as far as this one's concerned, this one is very uniform to what Hitachi's used to seeing on track. Anyways, the livery, the nose is mainly colored white with a red stripe. And the wing itself is red, white, and black. The wing plates are colored white. The tub of the car has a red stripe that goes all the way around. All the way around the tub, all the way back to the engine cover, and all the way back to the rear wing. Same thing with the white stripe underneath it. It starts at the tub, and it goes all the way through the cockpit, through the fuel cell, all the way back. And of course, the engine cover is mainly colored white because the side pods are mainly colored black. The side pods are black and it stops abruptly by the engine cover. And the engine cover is basically colored white. The roll hoop is colored white with a red TV pod. Fun fact, I think every car has either a TV camera or a weight on the car that is equivalent to the camera. This way they don't have a weight advantage on these cars. Fun fact. Also, let's see. The back wing itself is mainly colored black. In fact, it's all colored black, Rob. And voila! This side the same as the left. And I gotta say, very stunning looking car. Quite frankly, the same as last year's, besides the number 1 being number 2, but I didn't review last year's car, so let's make it all up for this year's cars. These cars are fantastic, and I think I mentioned before, there's plenty of places to get IndyCar Diecasts from this year. With Greenlight Indy cars being at such high demand this year, you can get them at Plan B sales this year. They're going to get limited quantities. As far as I'm concerned, Plan B sales almost nearly sold out of their cars by the end of May and the end of summer. So they got a small number of them and they wiped out clean very quickly. So people, I recommend Gutswear, of course, once they get their website up and running. I don't think it'll be up and running till probably May. I'll ask Tom how he's running with the website. If not, they have an eBay page, Alpha Collectibles. There's a couple people on eBay I know, DDK Racing Collectibles. Freetime Hobbies. Freetime Hobbies is a great source, especially if you live in the Southeast, like Georgia, Florida, North and South Carolina. Fantastic place. They offer a great price, and the shipping is unbelievably cheap too, for what I understand. Much cheaper than the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, because if you order from IMS, you're going to pay a hefty shipping price off of them. But a lot of good people to buy from this year. And of course, 360 View. And of course, there's a lot of cars I'll be reviewing this year. So which IndyCar are you looking forward to most this year for me to review? Quite personally, I'm most excited for the Yellow Submarine to come out. But that's coming out towards late April, so expect a couple reviews coming up later this month. Or, well, yeah, April's next week, Rob. You idiots. Comment, like, and subscribe, and this is Race Day 29 reminding you to join the fight to stop bullying. It gets better, and all Diecast Kid is saying is give peace a chance.